Greetings and welcome, friends. Mr. Waddy here in my Algebra Buddies. We were talking about measures of variation yesterday, trying to come up with one number that represents how spread out a lot of numbers are, and trying to reduce something to a single point or value isn't always going to be the most effective, but sometimes the world is a complicated place. Sometimes I want to reduce a concept to something simpler, a quick measurement that I might be able to understand a larger trend going on without having to look at the entire data set. And so one of the values we talked about yesterday was the idea of range, which my algebra buddies told me just moments ago that range is the difference meaning subtraction, between the highest value and the lowest value in a data set. So this was from their quest last night. Also, sometimes, notice this, it says see example 3. Sometimes if you're done stumped on a problem on the homework, they might be like, hey, you stumped? Go check out example 3, right? And then like you kind of know where to look so you can unstump yourself. Actually, speaking of which, some of my kids, they like watching this show from Canada called Mighty Machines, and there's this really cool machine like that's a stump grinder, and in the show they called it Stumper, and the thing just like could just literally chew up stumps from the ground. So that's how you can unstump your yard. Feel free to go check that out. I think it might still be on Netflix. If not, it's on YouTube. So anyways, golfer A and golfer B. Now, I don't know, lower scores in golf, from what I understand, are better than higher scores. So I don't know, these maybe are pretty mediocre golfers. But what if I wanted to settle the question, Jake? What if I wanted to just like try to figure out who is the best golfer, right? And this might be some sort of conversation that people have about, right, is Larry Bird better than LeBron, right? Is Michael Jordan better than Shaq, right? Like, how do you like quantify and then have this debate with someone that X player is better than Y player, right? And so you could say, yeah, but look at their highest scoring game was such and such. But that's not necessarily the most meaningful thing, because what matters is who is perhaps more consistent at playing that top game, right? You might have someone that suddenly had like a ridiculous, great game, but maybe in general, maybe they're just like a little bit more mediocre. You know, what if it was just some sort of beginner's luck? So let's try to figure out which golfer is the better golfer. So it says find the range of the scores. Let's see, golfer A, what's their highest score? 98. And what's their lowest score? 83. Okay, so yes. I like where you're going with that. Yeah, Shooter McGavin. Sure, absolutely. So let's see, 98 minus 83. That's a range of 15 for golfer A. All right, you with me, Jake? Golfer B. What is their highest score? And what's their lowest score? It looks like 87. So the range for B, golfer B, is going to be 95 minus 87. So what's that equal to? Is that 8? You guys with me on that? All right, so it says compare your results. Now, what do you think this means? Who's a more consistent golfer? Well, golfer B has a smaller range, so they are more consistent. Okay. All right, so that's a more consistent golfer. So that might be something that you'd be like, hey, yeah, you want a golfer that's reliable, my friends. Someone who's consistent in their performance. Golfer A has got a much larger spread of possible scores here, right, Kaylin? But let's actually, like I said, let's analyze who's better here. I think you guys might remember having this data. Let's see, we're on 17, 590, 17. Question? I believe it. I believe it. Did I? More consistent. I don't know. Feel free to look it up. So guys, if I want to find the range like we just did, one of the ways I could do that in spreadsheets is using equals max, right? Like so. And the max score was that. The minimum score was, so if I do equals min, select the data, here's golfer A's. And the range is going to equal this minus that, right? You guys solid on that? So there's my range right there. And if I want to duplicate formulas, I can select these, go to the, hey, Jake, be quiet, thanks. Drag the bottom right box over, and then it does the same thing for golfer B. So that's their range. What if I wanted to find out what's their mean? Well, I could use the average. Who do you guys think is a better golfer right now? Who thinks golfer A? Remember, lower score is better. All right, so here's... Ooh, okay, so now the golfer who on average has a better score is golfer A. Okay, so better score on average, but less consistent. So let's say there was a golf competition, a battle arena golf royale, something like that, yeah. And I was, you and I were, sports commentators before the game, and I'd be all like, golfer A, Shooter Gavin, he's got a really better average than golfer B, Happy Gilmore here. I'm putting my votes down on Shooter here. He's just, in general, is a better golfer. And then you'd be like, oh, that's true, but don't put Happy Gilmore out of the game just yet. He might, on average, right, perform a little worse than Shooter. However, he's more consistent. It doesn't take a lot for Shooter. You guys all know this. If he gets like upset, then like bam, he just starts doing horribly. Like he has one bad swing, he carries that with him for the rest of the game. And he's less consistent. He might have like a really bad game at one point. So who knows? This could be a runaway. Happy might end up, taking the game for today because he's more consistent. Maybe. I don't know. Even though Shooter on average is a better golfer. So that's one of the things that you could kind of analyze here. Interesting little debate or conversation you might be able to have. Yum, 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 yum. And actually, no, that doesn't. See, one. Oh, no, that would change the range. I was thinking of changing these values a little bit just for funsies. There we go. Look at this. I just changed 2 scores so that now they have the same exact mean, the same measure of center. Who would you want to pick as your bet today? Yeah. B? Yeah, more consistent. I mean, even though golfer A might end up with a lower score, right? They have a much better game here than that one, but also they have a worse game there than that one. But yeah, so it's just an interesting type of thing. So those are 2 different numbers that measure very different things in terms of a data set. So let's look at 18 real quick. Here we go. All right. So Jake hit a triple last year. Let's see how his season does this year. I'm really looking forward to it. It says the graph shows a player's monthly home run totals in dose seasons. Find the range of the number of home runs for each season. Compare your results. So let's see. The darker bars are their rookie season. What was the lowest outcome for their rookie season? I see 1. Where's 0? It looks like in May and August, they had 0. So range for year 1, I'll call it. I'm going to subtract 0 from what's their highest in their first season. What's their highest home runs in a month, friend? For their rookie season. Okay. So their range was 6 for their rookie year. You guys were just telling me that 13 was their maximum for year 2. And what was their lowest for year 2? Those are the light blue bars. Yeah, it looks like they had 4 here and 4 there. So 13 minus 4 is 9. So this is an interesting thing. Which season were they better, would you say? They were more consistent their first season, but their second season, they were actually getting higher scores on average, even though it's a little bit less consistent. So less consistent, but higher average. Okay? So that's just kind of an interesting thing to be aware of. And obviously, what if you were making predictions about Season 3 as far as their home run stats? What do you think? Where do you think this person's going for Season 3? Right? Look at this. Look at their trends for Season 2. They are like skyrocketing, especially at the end. Some of you are making some asterisk comments, whether or not this player started using steroids. And actually, you could, theoretically, do a statistical analysis of player outcomes, and then if there was suddenly like this massive gain, you might start getting suspicious, you know, like, what's going on here? That it might actually cause you to investigate further if there was some unusual gains all of a sudden. But yeah, notice that even the overall trend between these, we'll talk about best fit lines in the future, it's going up pretty good. That I would expect that this player is probably going to be getting better for Season 3. Well, anyways, thanks, folks. Feel free to add your sports comments below in the video. And yeah, I really look forward to Season 3 for this player. And let's hope that Happy wins this golf tournament. Bye-bye.